So today I have Pam with Box Free Minds. She's an entrepreneur here in the Valley and just started her business fairly recently as well, but has been in business for quite some time. So my first question for you, Pam, is what got you into entrepreneurship? What kind of inspired you to get into entrepreneurship?
Well, in anticipation of this question, I mean, I started a business in California in 1990 with a partner. My background is in the staffing industry, so I think we started because we learned a lot from the company we worked for. And sometimes you learn the things that you like, and sometimes you learn some of the things that you would prefer to do a different way. So you have an incentive and an interest in doing it on your own so that you can do things in a way to your standards. So we had the opportunity in 1990 to open our own staffing company in Southern California. And I think my personality is I'm better suited as a business owner, entrepreneur than I am as an employee, because I like to do things the way I think they should be done.
Right. Tell me about that, like being an employee where you, before you started that business back in the 90s, were you an employee and like had some bad experiences that kind of frustrated you and pushed you into entrepreneurship? Was that kind of what happened, or?
Well, I can't say that it was a bad experience. I learned a lot. Part of the reason you'll notice the name of my company is Box Free Minds, and I tend to think about things kind of from a different point of view. So if a manager or somebody says to me, you need to do it this way just because that's what we're telling you, that's really not a good enough answer for me. I need to understand why people do what they do. And if you take the time to share with me the why, I'm on it and I'll implement. But I don't care to blindly just do something because I'm told that's what I'm supposed to do. So the good news is I learned a lot about the business working for the other company. And then I was able to take my view of it and we created our own company. And I was with the company for 10 years. And during those 10 years, we had 3 offices in the Los Angeles area with about 25, 30 of our own employees. And depending on the year, had about 2,000 to 2,500 people out on assignment. So it's a lot of people.
Wow, that's fantastic. So
yeah,
for 10 years, you guys kind of worked together. And then what made you transition from that role into now Box Free Minds, or did you go back into corporate after that, or?
No, in 2000, I also had children in the middle of all that, believe it or not. So when we had an opportunity for my husband to move to Phoenix for his business, and I decided that I gave birth to my children and I'd like to see them before they leave. So it was a great transition for me to move out to the Phoenix area and spend some time with my kids. And I did, and I got my real estate license, and I did real estate part-time and stayed home with the kids and showed up for games and PTO meetings, things like that.
Okay.
And
fantastic.
I started, and then coaching, I officially got my certification in 2011 as a career transition coach.
Awesome. And tell me about that a little bit more. Why did you decide to go into career transition and transitional coaching rather than go back into, say, the staffing industry or something like that?
Okay, so as I said, I took some time off. I had 3 kids, so to do that, and then when my kids got a little older, I began the process of looking into buying another business. I didn't want to go back into the staffing industry. I had done that. I wanted to try something new. So I was looking for new businesses, and actually was under contract by a chain of stores in the Phoenix area, and the deal fell through. And about a week after the deal fell through, sorry to share this, but it is the story. My husband was diagnosed with stage 4 esophageal cancer, like the week after the deal fell through. So
sorry to hear that.
And I'm sorry, but and so and it was very aggressive and very fast, and so I was able to take that time to be with my family because that's what we needed to do, and to really say, okay, now I'm a single mom. I have 3 teenagers, 1 entering college. What do I want to do? And I literally asked myself the question that I've asked thousands of people in an interview, but just never remember to ask myself, which is, how do I like to spend my time when no one pays me? How do you like to spend your time? What do you like to do? And my answer is, I love this coaching. I love being able to hear about you, Bobby, or you, Daryl. What is it that you're passionate about? What is it that gets you out of bed in the morning and has you excited for your day? And how can we turn that into something financially successful for you? So coaching was the answer for me. I have been coaching people all my professional career. I just didn't know it had a name until 2010. So I went and got my coaching certification, and I utilized my staffing background and everything I know about getting people jobs, and I apply it to coaching.
Awesome. Fantastic. Bobby, did you want to jump in at all, or what? Have any questions there? I have a couple of more questions, but did you have any?
No. I want to really congratulate her on her successes in life with what she's been through. I lost my mother to cancer when I was 19. And also, I want to cut my time short with you guys because I got to go pick up my son from school. So right. It's amazing meeting you guys, and I really look forward to talking to you guys in the future. And have a great time on Blab.
All right, I appreciate it, Bobby.
For your help, Bobby.
Thanks a lot. All right, take care. See ya. Hey, Aaron, thank you for joining. I guess my next question for you is kind of what's been the journey when you made that decision? Hey, I'm going to go ahead and get into coaching and whatnot. It was here in Phoenix, obviously. Were there any rough patches as you began to get started, or was it kind of smooth sailing the whole way through, or how was that journey, or how has that journey been so far?
Yeah, I think that the journey is an interesting one. It's been good. The challenges I would say I faced is I'm good at what I do in terms of career and helping you figure out what your next steps are. Several of my clients actually are people who want to leave employment and open their own business. So I've helped people do that and help them in new jobs. The part that I find challenging is I'm not a marketing expert. I'm not a social media expert, and as you well know. So learning how to brand and market myself so that it's clear what it is that I do, because sometimes when you say the word coach, it means nothing and it means everything all at the same time. So how do I clearly convey the value that I offer? And to me, that's when I have an opportunity to work with people, it goes well. But the marketing is important because you have to get to those people to help them.
Right.
So I'm learning. Right.
So what were some of your first, going along that vein, what were some of your first efforts in marketing and that type of thing? Hey, Frankie. Hey, Kevin. Yeah. I just want to greet somebody I saw jumped in. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I think that, we went to, I had somebody helping me, and we went to, and I can't think of the name of it right now, where you can create your own website. You go and you use a template, and, the first lesson I learned was, I was so excited about everything that I had to share that my website was full of so much information that right. Even my own mother probably wouldn't have read all of it. But of course, I thought it was fascinating because it's important to me, and learning how to share what you do in palatable, bite-sized pieces for people to get is still a challenge for me sometimes. So I learned that I need a marketing person. So I did hire somebody, and as you can, if you were to look at my website from before versus what it looks like now, it's night and day. And I've learned how to stand up in front of a group, for example, and be as brief as possible so that people understand, oh, okay, I get what she does, and they can decide whether or not they need my help.
Awesome. And tell me, maybe, are there any mentors that you had when you first started to get into this, get into coaching people? Were there any people that you were mentored directly by or looked up to, or anything of that nature?
I have, I would say there are people in my life who I go to for coaching, because I don't really know specifically somebody who has done what I do before. Part of what I have learned, well, let me answer your question. So I have a very good friend who is also my coach, and she has run her own business very successfully for a lot of years, and she's retired. And she's also not afraid to tell me, you know what, get over yourself. You can do this, and, set me straight when I'm, flying off about something. So I do turn to her. I also have another friend who is a successful business owner in a completely different industry that I will pick his brain about, certain just standard business setup things. So what I've learned is I have different people that I can talk to based on what it is that I need. And then also groups like the one you and I go to. There's a networking group, and based on the feedback from that group, I changed my logo and I changed lots of things on my website because I put out there what I do in front of a lot of people who aren't familiar with it, and they completely didn't get it. And it was the best lesson, because I thought, okay, if they can understand what I do, then I'm doing something right. So getting out there and networking with other small business owners has been hugely helpful.
That kind of leads me to another question that I was going to ask a little bit farther down, but you kind of talked right into it. Are you a part of a mastermind group? And I'm kind of cheating because I think I already know the answer to this, but are you a part of a mastermind group? And what's been your experience with mastermind groups, if any?
Well, technically, I'm not a part of a mastermind group, unless you would consider, tips and tricks are that a mastermind group, which it kind of is. But I am a part of. I have visited lots of networking groups and have boiled down to really 3 that I get involved with. So, because you could spend your entire day visiting networking groups, so I've learned to be very selective. And I only interact with people whose brains I value. I like that. I really believe are going to tell me things that I need to hear. So, and then now I have learned enough to know, now I've hired a marketing person who I value how she works, and I'm seeing the results, targeting who I talk to about what I do. So awesome. I don't know that I have one mentor for sure, and I'd love to be a part of a mastermind group if I found one that they would value what I have to say, and vice versa.
Working on one right now, but that's
I know you are.
And let me ask you this. So let's ask a little bit more about kind of your business and kind of coaching people. Whatnot. Are there any standard patterns that you see for people who are trying to make a transition at all, or is it kind of different? Every person is a little bit different.
Yes and yes. I do believe everyone's a little bit different. One of the things that I resist is telling you, oh, well, if you do these 4 steps, you're going to make $1 million. Or I don't lump people into that box. But I can tell you that here's the pattern that I see, and the reason that I love what I get to do. And what I call what I do is the work before the work. what I find is common is that people want to jump right to the tasks. Just forget about the rest of it, Pam. Just tell me how to write write my resume better. What keywords should be in there so employers will want me, or how can I go to the job boards and have more companies look at me? And they jump over what I consider to be the very important foundation for you being successful in your job search. And that's working on you and who you are and truly your passion and what you want to do. And also, why are you of value? I think in this job market, sometimes people have lost that. Maybe they've been let go, or they've been part of downsizing, and now they're out there trying to find something new, but the little words in their heads are saying things like, oh, you're too old, you're not educated enough, no one's going to hire you, they're only hiring this person, and this isn't going to work, and I don't have medical, that on and on and on. And this is the chatter that's going on over here while you're trying to rewrite your resume. And to me, that's not where you start. Where you start is, let's back up and talk about you, Daryl. Let's talk about your value and what you bring as a person, not the words on your resume, but you. And when I see that light come back on, and I see that you get how valuable you are, then we work on the resumes, then we work on interview strategies, then we work on all the tips and tools.
It's funny that you say that. So I think basically what you're talking about at this point is mindset, right? It's just like having the right mindset. And it's so funny that you say that, because one of another mastermind group that I'm a part of, basically the pseudo leader of the group, she's such a great leader, but she doesn't, in my opinion, at least at this point, doesn't really see herself as that. So we've told her like several times, like, hey, you can do this, you are like a great leader, but she just sees herself in a different way, I think, and hopefully that'll change in the future. But let me ask you a little bit about kind of not so much mentors, but books. Are there like any books that have changed your life, or maybe changed a client's life after reading there, or that you suggest in your coaching practice?
Yeah. Let me think of the name of the book. I'm looking over at my books right now. It's a book by Steve Johnson. I think it's called Where Good Ideas Come From. And I'll have to get the name of that correctly if I've missed it up. But that book has made a huge difference, because the model that we believe about how business works is really not, the successful businesses are not working in those traditional models. The other book that I just finished recently that a client referred to me is What Would Google Do?, which has really opened my eyes to understanding social media and how we communicate. And this new, it's a whole new platform right now. So those are two books. Another book that is interesting just about mindsets, things like The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's an older book, but it's still, it's a classic book. Another good classic book, Think and Grow Rich, by Napoleon Hill. Just some great books. And I just found out about a couple of new ones, which I'm getting ready to preview. Sure. One by Walter Isaacson called The Innovators. And I think he profiles several people like Steve Jobs, and I forget who all. I saw it on some talk. And the other one is called Heartstrong, and it's a book about, and I think it's about famous women, 52 women, in science and industry who, for whatever reason did not make it to the history books that somebody has gone and really found out about. So I kind of have a passion for, as I talked about a little bit in the workshop, there's just so many interesting people out there who are thinking just slightly different about their life, and it's made all the difference.
No, that's awesome. Walter Isaacson, by the way, wrote a fantastic book on Steve Jobs, as a matter of fact. But that's interesting that you say, I kind of want to put that in the comments, or I would suggest you put it in the comments. looks like someone already put a couple of different things going on for Box Free Minds in the comments section for you. They kind of popped in and popped out. But yeah, what are those 2 books that you suggested again? I'll go ahead and put.
Well, the other one, I read Steve Jobs' book by Walter Isaacson, which is just a great book.
Right.
Okay, so here's some books as I think of them. One of a great book about human behavior and why you do what you do is called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, pretty sure. Steve Johnson, Where Good Ideas Come From. 7 Habits, Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey. If you haven't read it, it's a classic and it's a great book. Walter Isaacson, I haven't read this other one. It's called The Innovators, and he profiles. I can't remember how many, but let me read it and I'll get back to you once I get there.
Yeah.
I think some of them are from history. It could have even been like Thomas Edison. What, did I miss one? I have, if I have a book list that I keep. So, and Heartstrong is the other one I'm going to read about these women in history.
And here's the great thing about Blab is that you can come back to this on the replay and continue to add comments to the replay. So when you do get a chance to do that, then maybe just come back. I'll send you the link and stuff. Come back and just put in the comments like, hey, I meant to mention this, in case there's anything I missed, or it looks like a friend of yours might have jumped in and added some comments as well.
So I wonder who. I wish I could see the comments. I can't see them.
Yeah. So you have to check it when you get it. So, but you said The Innovators, and there was one other book there that you mentioned there.
Where Good Ideas Come From, Stephen Johnson.
Oh, okay. All right. So I was saying for future books that you're about to read.
Oh, so, that Heartstrong.
Oh, Heartstrong. Okay.
Yeah, I just this one I heard about. I can't remember where. I keep an ongoing list, and that's just about innovative women in history. And because I just think sometimes history doesn't always remember some of the women innovators, and I know a lot about a lot of the men in history. So I just like to learn a little bit about both. I haven't read that one yet, though.
Awesome. Well, it's on your to read list, and I've got like a long to read list as well. So, I'll probably just wrap it up with a couple more questions here, and then we can turn off the recording. And here's what happens when I turn off the recording. As soon as I turn off recording, a bunch of people show up, but that's just how it works here. So my next question is, like, for somebody who is looking to make a transition in their life, whether that be in a relationship, whether that be on the career front or starting their own business, is there like one good generic piece of advice that you give, or is there kind of just a general steps that you would say to take, like first couple steps before you're making a big change?
Well, there's. Let me just. I'm sorting. So just give me a second.
Yeah. Sure.
I think that what I would share when I have an opportunity to speak to, groups, just when they ask me to come and speak for like 10 or 15 minutes or something. Mm-hmm. So this is what I share with them. And that's what I know is I have what I call 8 mind shifts that I believe people need to reconnect with and remember about themselves in order to do the work to get the new career or new life that they want. And I just want to share it. So I would say start with the first one. And that's, to me, this is probably the most important one. And that is let go of your assumptions. So many people, they think they need help and they want to do it, but they come to the new opportunity assuming they already know the outcome. They already know no one's going to want them. They already know they're not good enough. They already know something that is going to limit their ability to have what they have. So, and I'll share with you that there are a lot of historical assumptions, and I did a little research on this because I just think it's fun. Things like, did you know that George Washington did not have wooden teeth?
Did not know that. No.
Did you? Did you know that sushi does not mean raw fish?
No,
It
didn't know
means
that
sour
either.
rice. Did you? And then there was others, like, you never hear the one that you can see the Great Wall of China from space?
Right.
You ever heard that?
Yeah, I have.
Not true. Can't.
You can't.
So now, are these particular facts going to stop you from getting a new career? No, they're not. But I just wanted to give you an example of a bunch of information that's probably in your head that's just not true. And you have, each of us has.
Oh, Pam, you just froze up just 5 seconds ago. Say that again. No. Things that are not true, and then you kind of froze up a little bit.
So am I back?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
Okay. So these are examples of just historical assumptions, things that we assume to be true that aren't. And in your life and in your career, I guarantee you, if we get to spend a little time together, we will identify more of these things assumptions that you carry around in your own head that limit you in some way. So step number 1, let go of your assumptions, be prepared to look at your life and your career in a new way, and reach out and talk to somebody whose brain you value about something new. That would be the place to start.
Great. Well, that's basically all the questions I have. The last question being just if somebody kind of decides that, hey, I do need the help, I want to make a transition in my life, how do they get a hold of you? Like, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Well, you can, I had email. You can email me at pam@boxfreeminds.com. You can go to my website, boxfreeminds.com, and contact me that way. Can they, on Twitter as well?
Okay.
At boxfreeminds.
Right above you there. Yeah.
Yeah. So all of those are things that I see all the time. I also am on Facebook. If some people are on Facebook, they can contact me there. So the first step is reach out to me, reach out to Daryl, but reach out to somebody and put all your assumptions of how you think it's going to go in a closet somewhere else and be open.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Pam, so much for taking the time today.